All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, Devin Haney gets good news and bad news. Some good news, some bad news from a former sparring partner that is also sparred with Brian Norman Jr., and I guess some good news from the mother of his baby. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division where Devin the Dream Haney prepares to fight Brian Norman Jr. for Brian Norman Jr.'s 147-pound WBO World Championship. If Devin Haney is successful, it would be a title in his third division. He was an undisputed champion at 135 pounds. He was the 140-pound WBC champion. And although he never defended that championship, and now he's going to be up at 147 pounds fighting Brian Norman Jr. Good news and bad news for Devin Haney. I have to make a short statement because I came across my feed. This is very good news, and I'm really happy for Devin Haney that it appears that his baby mother has retracted claims that Devin Haney had laid some hands on her. So hopefully for Devin Haney, that will go away. And if that is the case, that she lied about it, then good for Devin Haney for being a litigious son of a gun and suing her and trying to force the truth to get out. I was critical of him because the dude is suing everybody and his mama. There's all kind of drama around that particular girl, but hey, man, that's his business, and I'm happy for him. So I have updated you on that, not doing any real whole video on that topic, but good to hear it if that is the case. Now, the bad news for Devin Haney, though, is that he's more than likely going to get his behind whooped by Brian Norman Jr. Let me repeat. The bad news for Devin Haney Jr. is that he is probably going to get mopped. Devin Haney is not a junior. Please forgive me. He is more than likely going to get mopped by Brian Norman Jr. when he challenges him for his WBO belt. Now, why do I say that? Several reasons. The most current reason is that I just saw a video in which a sparring partner for both Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney was very, very clear about who he thought was going to win that fight, and it ain't Devin Haney. He said that he's riding with Brian Norman Jr. because Devin Haney is not, in his words, Devin Haney is not going to stand in there with Brian Norman Jr. And he said that Brian Norman Jr., specifically about Brian Norman Jr., that his feet are catching up with his hands. Now, if you know anything about Brian Norman Jr., he is a very big puncher with his right hand, with his left hand, but he's not somebody that, from what I've seen, looked like the most fleet-footed person in the world. He's somebody that is standing there that is going to walk somebody down. He's not somebody who's fighting on the back foot all fight. You're not going to have to run around looking for him. He's going to be there to fight you. So questions about his feet are reasonable when you look at Devin Haney, who is very fleet-footed. And so the sparring partner that fought both said that he was riding with Brian Norman Jr. because he believes that Brian Norman Jr. has the ability to cut the ring off on Devin Haney. And he said that Devin Haney will absolutely, positively not stay in the pocket and try to fight Brian Norman Jr. If he does that, he's going to wind up getting stopped. He's going to wind up getting knocked out. I would say the biggest weakness in Devin Haney's arsenal is that Devin Haney is just not a big puncher. And the fact that he's not a big puncher, the fact that he looked bad in his last two fights, the last fight that he had was Jose Ramirez. He refused to stay in the pocket and fight with Jose Ramirez at all. And Jose Ramirez is not somebody with a big punch. He's not somebody that's renowned as a knockout fighter. And this was at a fight where Devin Haney did not even feel comfortable coming all the way up to 147 pounds. He maintained the fight at 143 pounds. Now you're going to move up and fight a guy in Brian Norman Jr. and somebody that is much more athletic than Jose Ramirez, is much more fresh than Jose Ramirez. It absolutely positively can be a very, very difficult and very long night for Devin Haney. The only way that I see now, I'm not 100% sure that Devin Haney cannot win the fight, but the second reason why I'm like, man, this is a bad look is because of the way that Top Rank does business. Top Rank is the number one promotional. I think it's still fair to say, even though they lost their ESPN contract, I still think Top Rank is the best promotional company or one of the best promotional companies in the world, and they definitely have some of the best matchmakers in the world and are the most experienced promotional company in the world. And when they have a young champion and they have a young fighter that they put it and they're going to go and, level them up, put them in a championship fight, they always hesitate to do it unless they know that their guy is going to win. Or in the way that Bob Arum and their matchmakers at Top Rank had said it in the past, that unless they are 80% sure that their young champion is going to win, they're not going to put their championship out, their champion out there. That's why guys like Shakur Stevenson got championship fights very fast, while guys like Mick Conlon, who was signed around the same time as Shakur Stevenson, never wound up getting a championship shot with Top Rank because they said, look, man, we would rather let him go somewhere else than lose a championship fight under our banner. That is the mentality and that is the approach of Top Rank as it goes with their young fighters, setting up fights with their young fighters. Also, please understand that Brian Norman Jr., I do believe, just re-signed with Top Rank, even though Top Rank did not have a TV contract that has been publicly announced. So the fact that that Top Rank is still making signings, still signing fighters, and fighters are still re-signing with them tells you that these guys have something up their sleeve coming down the road. And since that's the case, I don't believe that they're going to put him in there with Brian Norman Jr., with Devin Haney, unless they think they can win. Also, I would not doubt at all that they're trying to get rid of Devin Haney altogether over there with Turki Al-Sheikh and them and just say, look, man, let's just get this guy knocked off and beat him and we can be done with it. Now, that is what I kind of think about their thoughts about trying to deal with Bill Haney. But the fact of the matter is, even if that's not the case, the rehab season, the number one thing that they've been able to do is ruin the careers of boxers and get rid of whole stables of fighters over there in the UK. Man, the UK boxing has shriveled up into almost nothingness at having dealt with Turki Al-Sheikh and throwing in fighters with fights that they're not ready for. Top Rank didn't want to do it, but Jared Anderson overrode him and insist on throwing his career away by jumping in there with that rigged Martin Bacoli fight. But anyway, man, if I'm putting money on this fight, I'm putting money on Brian Norman Jr. Personally, I would love to see Devin Haney win because, I ain't been the biggest fan of Devin or Bill, but, Devin's a good guy. I think he's a good guy. And I've been a fan of his or been wanting him to do well for a long time. So I don't want to see him with a big fall off. But at the same time, I like Brian Norman Jr. So there's really no loser for me in this particular fight. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.